Hi, I'm Andrew. In this video, I'll be covering the high-level concepts of coaching, and I'll start to define what coaching is and why coaching is such a useful technique to use in the workplace. I'll also talk about what coaching isn't by differentiating coaching from training, counselling and mentoring. So let's look at some of the high-level concepts of coaching. Here's a quote from Nancy Kline. The brilliant coach is the one who can bring out the brilliance of others. That would be quite useful in an organisation if you had managers who were brilliant at bringing out the performance of their teams. Nancy Kline said in her book, Time to Think, that we're so busy as managers fighting fires, we haven't got time to think about how to stop those fires breaking out in the first place. Imagine working for an organisation where you could be confident that everybody you're working with is trying to bring out your brilliance. Compare that to an organisation where that's not true, where maybe some people are trying to undermine other people rather than bring out their brilliance. Which organisation in the longer term is going to be more successful? I think you'd agree that the organisation that's continually trying to bring out the brilliance of its people. So, where does the term coaching come from? Well, we're all familiar with sports coaches. Let's think about the services that sports coaches provide. Firstly, a sports person requires the knowledge and skills to excel at their chosen sport. Picking up the required skills and knowledge is the function of training and many hours of practice. However, at some point, every sports person will reach a ceiling to their performance. In other words, they will start to face barriers that stop them from improving their performance. The sports coach's primary function is to bring out the brilliance of the sports person. In other words, to help them to overcome these barriers to improving their performance. Team coaches provide the same service to groups of sports people. Why do certain teams consistently outperform other teams? Well, often it's down to the ability of the coach to bring out the brilliance of the players. The same is true for organisations. Ultimately, you have competing organisations, and one organisation starts to look very similar to another organisation. The same numbers of people, the same IT, the same processes, and maybe even similar looking products. What makes a difference for that organisation to consistently beat the other organisation? Well, it's the leadership and management's ability to bring out the brilliance of the people working for that organisation. Here's another way of looking at coaching. Recently I had a birthday, and for my birthday my wife bought me 10 sessions with a personal trainer. But I wasn't really in the mood. I didn't want to do lots of physical activity. So my wife decided to take those sessions for herself as she'd already made the investment. And she did pretty well. I did say to her, well, I can save you some money here. I'm telling you, do 20 press-ups for me. But she wouldn't do it. And then I said to her, well, you already know how to do 20 press-ups. Why don't you just go ahead and do 20 press-ups? You don't need somebody telling you to do 20 press-ups. But isn't it true as humans, sometimes we just need somebody outside of us, outside of our relationship even, to encourage us and motivate us to achieve our goals. Coaching is that, helping people who sometimes already know what they should be doing, helping and motivating them to actually get on and do it and therefore achieve their goals. We work in a competitive environment. Often we're being asked to achieve more with less, and that's pretty tough to do. How do you achieve more with less time, less resources, less people? Let's take executive coaching as an example here. Why would an executive pay quite a lot of money for an executive coach? The executive is intelligent and can achieve their own goals on their own. Say maybe they've got a goal that's going to take a year to achieve. But by hiring an executive coach, that coach is able to bring out their brilliance in such a way the executive can achieve those goals in, say, 6 months, half the time. What have we got there? We've achieved more with less. So, what is workplace coaching? Well, coaching is the art of helping another person to solve problems for themselves. Just imagine you're leading a team full of people who are brilliant at solving problems for themselves. That will have a direct impact on performance. Problem solving is a skill that can be developed. If you as the leader take that opportunity away from people, deprive them of the opportunity to practice problem solving, they're never going to get better at problem solving. Coaching also helps people to choose to change their behaviour. It is very difficult to force somebody to change their behaviour, but coaching raises their awareness that this behaviour is not actually appropriate and it isn't really serving them. It's very difficult to force somebody to change their behaviour, but through raised awareness, people are able to decide to choose to change their behaviour for themselves. And finally, coaching is the art of tapping into the potential of our people. How much potential has anybody got? It's very difficult to put a number on this. I have heard that it's unlimited. I'm not sure about unlimited. However, I'm absolutely convinced we've all got a lot more potential than we realise. Coaching is the art of tapping into that potential. In the workplace, that potential will turn directly into enhanced performance. We're all being asked to do more with less. What if there's a lot more within us that we could produce to enhance performance that didn't actually mean we had to work a lot harder? Coaching is the art of helping that to happen. We've talked a little bit about what coaching is. Let's just talk a little bit about what coaching isn't. First of all, coaching is not training. You're experiencing some training now through the medium of video. You would have sat in classrooms and experienced classroom training. Coaching is not training. Secondly, coaching is not counselling. Somebody would go to a counsellor because they've temporarily lost touch with their inner resources, their ability to rationalise, to put things in perspective. And that's usually happened because of some high emotion, some traumatic event. It could be stress, depression, but it would be a high emotion. A counsellor would help you to achieve some perspective, help you to achieve some closure or resolution. And to do that, they would take you into the past and they would help you to realise and see the traumatic event or the series of traumatic events that has led up to you temporarily losing touch with your inner resources. That resolution, that closure would look like somebody saying to themselves, oh, I now know why I feel this way. I can recognise what's happened and why I feel this way. But I don't need to continue to feel this way. Maybe I can learn from what's happened in the past. Maybe I can be stronger. That's what resolution would look like. That would look like getting back in control of that conversation in your own head. Coaching assumes the person that is being coached is already in touch with that conversation inside their head. They're already in touch with their inner resources. Therefore, it doesn't really need to go into the past. It can be entirely forward-looking. And we look at activities that are forward-facing. We look at people's goals. We help people to get clarity around what it is they want to achieve. Where do they want to be in 6 months' time? Where do they want to be in a year's time? Coaching as an activity is helping people to get clarity on what it is they want to achieve and help them to get there quicker than they could by themselves. And finally, although coaching and mentoring is often mentioned in the same sentence, there is a difference. Coaches do not require subject knowledge. They need to be experts at facilitating somebody to get clarity around their goals, clarity about what they want to achieve and how they're going to achieve it. As such, therefore, the coach would give less advice. Pure coaching, there would be no advice whatsoever. Mentoring does require subject knowledge. The mentor is going to be more of an experienced guide. They're going to pass on that knowledge, that expertise to help that person to move forward. As such, it will often look like the mentor is giving much more advice than the coach would be. Why do we say coaching and mentoring in the same sentence? Well, they're remarkably similar when you see it happening. They are conversational techniques. You will see questioning techniques being used. You will see active listening happening. So very often we talk about coaching and mentoring as that skill, that conversational skill. In this video, I covered the high-level concepts of coaching, and I started to define what coaching is and why coaching is such a useful technique to use in the workplace. I also talked about what coaching isn't by differentiating coaching from training, counselling and mentoring. In the next video, we'll look further at using coaching as a style of management.